Welcome to HouseLux Estate, your go-to channel for health and lifestyle insights. HouseLux Estate is dedicated to providing you with the knowledge to live a healthier and more balanced life. Our mission is to empower you with the right information to make informed choices about your well-being. One such vital piece of information is understanding how our bodies work, specifically our brain chemistry. In today's video, we will delve into the science of dopamine and how addiction occurs. Dopamine is a type of neurotransmitter, a chemical messenger that transmits signals in the brain and other areas of the body. A crucial player in how we think, feel, and behave, dopamine is often referred to as the feel-good hormone. It's like the brain's reward system, contributing to feelings of pleasure and satisfaction as part of the reward system. This reward system is not just about pleasure, though. It's also about motivation. It encourages us to repeat behaviors that are essential to our survival, like eating, exercising, and socializing. But dopamine is not just about rewards and pleasure. It plays a critical role in other functions too. It helps regulate movement and emotional responses, and it enables us not only to see rewards but to take action to move toward them. Think of it like this. Imagine you're a hunter in the wild. You spot a deer in the distance. That's when your brain releases dopamine, not when you've caught the deer, but when you've seen it and your brain recognizes the potential for reward. This dopamine release makes you feel motivated to chase after the deer, to work for your reward. It's also important to note that dopamine affects mood. Low levels of dopamine are linked with feelings of apathy, lack of interest in life, reduced alertness, and slower reaction times. On the other hand, high levels of dopamine can lead to feelings of euphoria, aggression, and intense sexual feelings. But here's the catch. Like all things in life, balance is key. Too much or too little dopamine can lead to health problems. For instance, Parkinson's disease is associated with a loss of dopamine-producing cells, while schizophrenia has been linked to high levels of dopamine in certain areas of the brain. While dopamine is essential for many body functions, an imbalance can lead to serious health issues, including addiction. So, understanding dopamine, how it works, and its effects on the body is crucial, not just for our physical health, but our mental well-being too. Addiction does not occur overnight. It is a process that involves the gradual buildup of dopamine in certain areas of the brain. Let's delve deeper into this process. Dopamine, fondly known as the feel-good neurotransmitter, plays a significant role in how we experience pleasure. It's the brain's way of patting us on the back for doing something beneficial. This might be something as simple as eating your favorite meal or as complex as achieving a long-term goal. However, where the trouble starts is with repeated exposure to dopamine-inducing activities or substances. These activities or substances can range from harmless things like gaming or shopping to harmful substances like drugs or alcohol. When we engage in these activities or use these substances, our brain releases a surge of dopamine, making us feel good, even euphoric. This feeling, this reward, can be so compelling that we want to experience it again and again. Now here's the catch. Our brain is a master of efficiency. When it notices that there's a consistent and high level of dopamine, it starts to adjust. It reduces the number of dopamine receptors or makes them less responsive. This is a process known as downregulation. As a result of this downregulation, we don't feel the same level of pleasure or satisfaction from the activity or substance as before. We need more to get that same high. This is what we call tolerance. It's like turning up the volume on your music because you've become used to the current level and it no longer excites you. Now you might think, well, I'll just stop doing it. But it's not that simple. You see, when you suddenly stop the dopamine-inducing activity or substance, you might feel low or even depressed. That's because your brain has become used to the high levels of dopamine, and now it's craving for more. This craving, this compulsive need for the dopamine high, is what leads to addiction. It's a vicious cycle that can be difficult to break, and that's how dopamine addiction occurs. Over time, the brain begins to crave more dopamine, leading to addiction. Recognizing the signs of dopamine addiction is the first step towards seeking help. Dopamine addiction is a growing concern, and understanding its signs can be a game changer, potentially saving lives and improving mental health. First, let's talk about tolerance. In the context of dopamine addiction, tolerance is the need for increased amounts of dopamine-releasing activities to achieve the same level of pleasure. For instance, if you used to enjoy a scoop of ice cream, but now you need a whole tub to feel the same level of satisfaction, that's a sign of increased tolerance. This is because your brain has adjusted to the high levels of dopamine and is now demanding more for the same level of pleasure or reward. Next on the list are withdrawal symptoms. Just like a coffee addict might get headaches without their morning cup, dopamine addicts might experience discomfort when they're not engaging in dopamine-releasing activities. These symptoms could range from restlessness and irritability to physical symptoms like tremors and sweating. It's essential to note that withdrawal symptoms can be psychological as well, manifesting as feelings of depression or anxiety when the dopamine fix isn't available. Changes in behavior or mood are also significant indicators of dopamine addiction. You might notice that activities you once enjoyed no longer hold the same appeal. This is because these activities cannot compete with the dopamine high you've become accustomed to. You might also notice mood swings and a general sense of dissatisfaction. This is your brain reacting to the roller coaster of dopamine highs and lows. Another sign of dopamine addiction can be a shift towards riskier behaviors. As the addiction progresses, the individual might start seeking out higher-risk activities to get the same dopamine rush. This could involve anything from dangerous sports to risky financial decisions. It's a sign that the brain is craving more and more dopamine, even at the cost of personal safety and well-being. A crucial sign of dopamine addiction is the persistent desire to engage in dopamine-releasing activities, despite negative consequences. This could mean neglecting responsibilities, damaging relationships, or even harming one's physical health. The addict may recognize these negative outcomes, but feel powerless to stop the behavior. This is a clear sign that the desire for dopamine has become compulsive and is no longer within the individual's control. It's important to remember that dopamine addiction isn't a character flaw or a sign of weakness. It's a brain disorder, and like all disorders, it needs appropriate treatment and understanding. If you or someone you know is exhibiting these signs, don't hesitate to seek professional help. Understanding these signs can help you or your loved ones seek help early. Remember, the quicker the intervention, the better the chances of recovery. So keep an eye out for these signs and don't be afraid to reach out for help. Addiction is a serious issue that can have devastating effects on one's health and quality of life. It's a topic that deserves our attention, and it's one that we've dived into today. We've explored the world of dopamine, this fascinating neurotransmitter that plays a significant role in how we feel pleasure and motivation. It's a crucial part of our brain's reward system. But like everything else in life, too much of it can lead to problems. We've learned that dopamine addiction doesn't happen overnight. It's a gradual process that often starts innocently enough, perhaps with a desire to feel good or to escape from stress. But over time, as we feed this desire with dopamine-boosting activities or substances, our brains start to crave more and more dopamine. It's a cycle that can be hard to break, especially when the signs of addiction aren't always obvious. And that's why it's so important to know what to look out for. We've discussed several signs of dopamine addiction in this video, from an intense craving for instant gratification to an inability to focus on long-term goals. If you or someone you know is exhibiting these signs, it's crucial to take them seriously. Remember, addiction is not a sign of weakness or a moral failing. It's a health issue that requires support and treatment. If you think you might be struggling with dopamine addiction, don't hesitate to seek help. Reach out to a healthcare professional who can guide you towards the resources you need. Maintaining a healthy lifestyle is also key in managing dopamine levels. Regular exercise, a balanced diet, sufficient sleep, and mindfulness practices like meditation can all help in keeping your dopamine levels in check. But perhaps the most important takeaway from this video is this: you are not alone. Addiction can be isolating, but there are countless people out there who understand what you're going through and who are ready to help. Before we wrap up, let's take a moment to reflect on the power of knowledge. By understanding how dopamine works and how it can lead to addiction, we are better equipped to take care of our mental health and to support those around us. Thank you for watching. If you found this video informative, don't forget to subscribe to House Lux Estate for more health and lifestyle tips. Stay healthy and see you in the next video.